Welcome to the Dr. PhilGood, our weekly broadcast on trauma recovery, cellular health, and real-life healing from the inside out.
This series is proudly sponsored by the Patrick Risha CTE Awareness Foundation, whose mission is to prevent CTE through education and early intervention.
A mission that's critical for families like ours navigating brain injury, behavioral changes, and long-term caregiving.
You can visit them at stopcte.org.
Welcome. Thank you for coming back. Today we are talking about why your brain isn't betraying you.
Why your brain isn't betraying you.
Yes, and do you know what this conversation is all about, David?
I believe that it's about neuroinflammation, and we're going to be focused on
The science
of
trauma,
why we are who we are.
hormones, and the nervous system.
The science of trauma, hormones, and the nervous system.
Good, I love it.
Yeah. If you guys didn't catch that, today we're going to be talking about science of trauma, the nervous system. I didn't pass the memory.
The hormones.
And the hormones. All right. I got 2 out of 3.
Let's start with trauma.
All right. Trauma. Go for it.
What's the definition of trauma in your book, David?
In my book, it's something so heavy that we laugh about it. I got to make a joke. It's traumedy.
Okay, so it is something that overwhelms the system, which then cannot process safely.
So when someone goes in shock.
So think of
black out.
PTSD, I'd say. That's usually when I think of trauma, I kind of connect every single experience that's traumatic back to how people who deal with PTSD operate.
So, yes, I agree.
Do you remember when we were sitting in the car in Denver and I was driving and every single time there was a white car coming, like, ah!
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what
I
you
do.
did?
That picture is really messing with me.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. But I'm just...
Just so you podcasters that are listening are informed, we're in a studio that we have created the best sound that you can get anywhere. Don't you agree?
Oh,
everyone?
it's incredible. I love it.
Yeah. So we got the best sound.
Thanks.
We got the best cameras, but the actual environment is needed some work. So we're going to do some refacing soon. Stick with us. You're going to see a lot of things
In the
change.
meantime, when I say,
there's
imagine
a picture crooked
that
over there.
I'm trying to turn into is it called an infant posture?
Oh, yes, where you're in the baby fetal position.
Fetal position, that's what it is. Fetal position.
So that's what I was doing when the car would come out. Okay,
You
so
look like
she's
you wanted to go
explaining
back
trauma.
into your mom's womb.
And you know that I didn't know that about me at all till I met you.
Yeah, well, do you know that was the very first thing that I picked up from your behavior?
Must be pretty obvious.
When we were sitting in the car.
It didn't happen when I was driving.
And then
Correct.
you never drove it. You didn't drive at that
I had
point.
quit driving in 2007.
I drove you every single places, and then when I saw that happening over and over and over and over again, I started to notice that it only happened when it was a white vehicle
Made
approaching
sense
us.
when you told me that, because my vehicle that I drove was white, and the hood of that vehicle was, the picture of it was straight up because it was a head-on collision, and it just compacted it like a can, and boop.
Right. So what I
I
want
saw my head
our
go.
listeners to understand is that there are many involuntary actions going on when it comes to trauma and a nervous system that has been traumatized, because that nervous system holds that information as long as it becomes something we call resolved. And in the meantime, your muscles, because of their closeness to your nerves, when I say nervous system, people sometimes think of the brain, or sometimes they don't think of the brain and they just think of the nerves. But I like to point out that the nervous system is an extension it's the center of the nervous system is the brain, and its extensions are the nerves that run throughout your whole entire body, which is why people say that your muscles store trauma. I personally disagree. I think it's your nervous system that has a proximity to your muscles react, which then can be seen through your muscle work.
Well, I know that muscles have memory when it comes to doing things. And it's your nerve system that tells your muscles what to do.
So again, it's really your nerves.
Yeah, and I mean, but your nerves aren't growing and big and getting...
No, but your nerves are the ones that are holding the information, remembering.
Yes, I agree with that. I just know that when you build bodybuilding, you guys are going to see it here in the next few years, because I used to be a big boy, now I'm a little bitty thing, and I'm going to work out with my wife. We've been planning on this for a minute. And I'm probably going to blow up. We're going to see how much memory's in that muscle. Now, how will you explain that? Is it in the
Well, again,
nerves,
going back to the like a slightly different subject, but still in the same ballpark, is that we don't believe that you can actually lose memories.
Right, we
don't.
don't.
Only believe that that your neurons, which is your nerve cells, they can lose connections in significant areas, which then cause you not being able to recall memories.
Hey, I just got a really cool analogy regarding this. If that's looking at it in this sense, when I gain my memory and get the memory back, it's like my muscles growing. So it's an action that produces neuroplasticity.
Correct.
It's activity that will produce the growth in my muscles, which will also, it works that way with memory. The activity, the neuroplasticity creates pathways, which
new pathways,
give
neural
me
pathways
to my memories coming back.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, and it's interesting. But let's just talk about neuroplasticity at the end of this section. I mean, the end of this show, because we have a structure here to follow. So anyway, so trauma overwhelms the system, and then because of that, we can't really process safely. Like, for example, if you had a traumatic event, like a car accident, then you may have like traces of memories of certain colors or certain type of cars or certain type of situations, like a vehicle approaching from a certain direction or something like that may trigger you to
act a certain way.
To act a certain way, which doesn't even really equal with you recalling the memory.
Right.
Like,
I had no idea that.
Right. You didn't even know what was going on with you, I don't think.
Until you explained that it was white cars that I put together that, well, my the hood was white, and it was, when I saw the picture of it, was right up over the...
So it's important to understand that the brain is affected throughout this process that we call trauma.
I would act a certain way.
And
it was because
certain
of the trauma.
Parts of the brain are causing these actions.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's not my fault. It's not something that a person must feel bad about.
No.
And a lot of times this is something that causes people to carry heavy burdens.
Well, and like
it's misjudged.
No, and also like we are, especially trauma survivors, they're very prone to have a negative self-talk, and then they can beat themselves up over doing things that are involuntary, and that's not a good habit either. But so the nervous system is ultimately affected by these events. And one of the ways how it is affected is that the sympathetic nervous system starts to drive. And so normally there is a balance between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system.
Can you explain the difference between those two real quick?
Yeah, so the sympathetic is associated with something we call fight or flight. I think a lot of the listeners are already familiar with this because this has been a very popular topic.
So that's the sympathetic?
That's the sympathetic. And then the parasympathetic nervous system is associated with rest and digest. And I actually like to add healing to it because that's something that the traditional, well, I should say Western medicine is not really going to tell you, but our bodies were made to heal themselves. one of the
Oh, I like the
reasons,
sound of
one of the reasons, not all of the reasons, but one of, not, there's way more extensive, the list is, but one of the reasons why this is not happening very often is because the majority of the people have a sympathetic dominant nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And we really cannot heal until we have the ability to engage the parasympathetic nervous system, or we have a nervous system routine in which the parasympathetic nervous system is engaged on
Now,
a regular basis.
Don't feel bad out there if you're hearing this and you say, there's no way I can sit down and rest. I'm not the type of person. I am that person. Fru couldn't get me to stop wiggling or moving around when we first met. And that was why we met. One of the reasons was a tool she had that would help engage the parasympathetic nervous system in my body. And it can change, and it does change. I'm looking right at you, folks. It does change. You just got to work at it.
Yes, or you got to learn to relax.
Mm-hmm. But there's ways of learning.
Yes,
Fru
exactly.
ought to put a book out about how to rest. I bet you will.
I've been coaching people about that. So if that's interesting for anybody, feel free to reach out to me. I have lots of information for you on different tools that will help you with engaging the
It's the key to
system.
getting better, isn't it, Fru?
It is very, very. I mean, this was fundamental for me to be able to function after the traumas that I survived in my life. And I don't think I would have ever been able to return to society or quit using recreational drugs or, quit living in drama all the time had I not learned how to regulate my nervous system. And that's the process of regulating your nervous system basically means nothing else but finding tools that work for you that engage the parasympathetic nervous system.
Very smooth, very smooth.
So another effect, I should say, of trauma is the hormonal imbalance.
Oh, let's take a minute and talk about the hormonal imbalance.
And we definitely talked about this a lot in one of our future episodes. So if you're confused about why I said that in past tense, it's because we already recorded it. With
episode 4, you guys.
With Dr. DeMayo.
Dr. DeMayo.
And we might have said episode 4 in a previous episode, but, we actually just recorded a double episode yesterday. So it's going to be episode 5, I believe, or 4, I don't even
Dr.
know. 5.
4.
Well, it was, but we did 2 episodes yesterday that was supposed to be 1. So it's going to be 5 probably.
Yeah.
So anyways, just one of the future episodes.
It's called
most likely the next one after
Precision
this.
Psychiatry.
Correct.
Is what it's called.
Correct. So we talk about this in detail during that interview because what she does with the precision psychiatry is she implements hormonal therapy, not HRT, but like a natural way of hormonal therapy to help people to heal from trauma. And she's
teamed up with Dr. Mark Gordon in that aspect, which is, if you've heard of Millennium Health or Dr. Gordon or watched Quiet Explosions,
then you may know who he
is and might know some of what we're saying.
And he's the one who developed the system that Dr. DeMayo uses in her practice. So what happens to the hormones is that the hormones get out of whack. And I always tell people that the hormonal system is called a system for a reason because hormones work together. And when one of them stops working, then other hormones get out of whack as well. So it's never really like you only have one hormonal issue and then you have no other. It has a very, very strong domino effect. And then if you guys listen to any interviews with Dr. Mark Gordon, then you are also going to find out that these hormones have so many different kind of roles. They don't, the hormonal system is so complex and it is responsible for so many other functions other than what we...
Sex.
well, it's not just actually.
That's what most people think of when they think of hormones, is the sexual hormones.
Okay, so so if you listener are familiar with the term neurotransmitter, if not, I can explain what neurotransmitters
Go ahead
are.
and explain it.
Neurotransmitters are the substances that help neurons or nerve cells to communicate with one another.
Substances that help the neurons communicate with each other.
And so hormones are also neurotransmitters.
Isn't that something? And if it just dawned on me, well, not dawned, I had a little vision of playing the piano. And if one piano key is out of tune, you can just be playing so pretty, and as soon as that hits that note, it wrecks the whole entire song. Is a wreck. Now, you might be able to keep on playing around that key and not hit it.
If you avoid using that key, yeah.
But sooner or later, that key's going to get hit, and it's going to notice. So you got to get tuned up.
So a large percentage of our hormones and neurotransmitters are produced in the gut. And so the gut, or the wellness, the well-being of the gut, is a huge factor that is affected by trauma. And also it is a huge factor in healing from trauma. Mm-hmm. Because there is the vagus nerve. A lot of you probably heard of vagus stimulation.
What stays in Vegas? Or what happens in Vegas?
No, not Vegas. No, vagus nerve is a nerve that connects the brain with your gut.
I think of the jugular vein when I think of the vagus nerve. It's right along the same area.
But it's not a venous nerve.
No, it's a venous nerve. It's a vagus nerve.
It's a vagus nerve, which just happens to run on the sides of your neck. But it actually connects your brain with your gut. And that nerve in particular is so important because it keeps sending signals from your gut to your brain and from your brain to your gut.
It's the main cell tower. Like, we just got Wi-Fi back today, and the line of fiber optic was broken just down the street. When they picked up that, we got connected to the whole world again.
Right.
Vagus nerve.
Right. So the microbiome, which is part of your gut, this is for both men and women. Then for women, there is more because we have biome in our vagina also.
Yes.
And so
it gets passed on to the
children.
And
that gets passed on to children while they are born. And that's exactly why when children are born with a C-section today, now doctors actually make sure that they get in contact with that microbiome, because that microbiome there in a woman's vagina is protecting that child from a bunch of different kind of diseases.
From the time it was conceived.
Yes. From the time, from the time, exactly. So
I'm a mama's boy, and that's why.
So
Thanks, Mom.
the quality of our microbiome in all places in our bodies play a huge role in what kind of, like, how is our hormonal balance, how our immune system, and how our brain functions.
That's why children, I know my daughter had it, I had it, thrush.
Yes.
I was born with it.
Yes.
I got it through my mother's biome, correct? Mm-hmm. It's something that, it's really neat how nature works. God built us. Whatever it is, our DNA, our biome that we've got, it's all repairable and changeable.
Yeah.
It is. So we're not stuck with what...
Well, the DNA doesn't even really need to be repaired. It's just, again, another topic we talked about with Dr. DeMaio on that interview. It's not something that requires repair. It's something that requires an optimal environment for it not to show negative expressions.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to induce positive expressions of the DNA, we just have to live healthy. And I know it's easier said than done, especially when we talk about trauma survivors, but the ultimate goal for everybody should be to work on the lifestyle choices that influence the quality of our microbiome, and then oxidative stress, which we're gonna like very, very briefly touch in this episode also.
So there's one thing you can do that will repair your genetic
disposition?
Yeah, no. It's one thing you can do that can repair what's wrong is in your environment.
You're talking about expression.
Yes, right. I am talking about expression. One thing that can fix it is, and it fixes everything along the line with your health, your mental health, your physical health, environment. And if you don't believe in that, put yourself in a third world country for a while and see what kind of mental health you're going to have. Change or get stuck in a storm like this and have your power removed and your Wi-Fi and all that stuff away, and watch how your mental health responds to it. So environment and changing those little things, you have the power to do it. You have the power to control what's going on in your car when you drive back and forth to work every day. What goes in your ears, you have the power to control that. And that negative impression or positive impression affects your mood, your mental health, physical health, all the way down the line.
Right. And like the condition of your microbiome, the genetic expressions that your genes show will all influence your nervous system condition, or the condition of your nervous system, I should say. And whereas you can influence your nervous system by working on activating the parasympathetic nervous system, there are certain things that when you live in fight or flight, you're going to notice, and that one of them is sensory overload. And the sensory overload is something I learned when I was learning about the autistic spectrum disorder, because that's where I become familiar with the term. But it happens with so many people. I see it so many times now that I know what it is. It's not really so, like it's not restricted only for people who deal with the autistic spectrum disorder, but it's actually a huge thing for trauma survivors or people with brain injuries.
Well, that's why they call it a spectrum, correct? I mean, everybody's on it.
Yes, that's why that's not why they call it a spectrum. They call it that's not a widely accepted. That's something that I believe, and you may believe, but it's not something.
I didn't know where I got that.
Yeah, it's not something that's widely accepted, that, like, oh, everybody's on the spectrum. No, not at all.
Oh, the grace and mercy that comes with that statement.
But anyways, that's, so sensory overload is when your brain, and the reason why they call it sensory overload, it's the overload happens in your brain, but they call it sensory because it comes through your senses. So it could be
hearing, sight, smell,
or a repeating thought in your mind.
Oh yeah,
cause sensory overload.
Seventh sense or whatever you call it. The sixth sense, thoughts.
Yeah, or it could be like, for example, do you remember how you felt yesterday here when you found the room was too hot?
Yes.
Okay, that's sensory overload temperature through your skin.
And it caused me to act really. I was at the end of the night.
Absolutely.
Just that.
And what happens is that you get that input too long or too much, either too intense or too long or both. If it's too intense, then somebody who deals with sensory overload is not going to be able to get it too long. They're going to blow up. And so sometimes people with this condition seem like they're having a nervous breakdown from something so insignificant that everybody just thinks, oh, they're crazy. Oh, they're like whatever. They're just like exaggerating.
Drama
oh,
queen.
they're just drama queens, or like whatever it is. It's
Got a bad
it's not a
temper.
big deal, and all that kind of stuff.
They're hot-headed.
Yeah.
The allostatic load is completely full.
And then in reality, it really comes to allostatic load, which we're not talking about today, but I bet we're going to do an episode on it at some point. But so sensory overload can cause freeze or shut down. So the brain is overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer able to process. So nothing that comes out makes sense, or like it doesn't seem like it does.
It's reactive mode.
And then nothing that you tell the person who's dealing with sensory overload really gets processed, so nothing really goes in. So like one of the first things that should stop immediately when you see somebody having a sensory overload is communication, because it doesn't exist, actually.
It adds to it. It adds to
well,
the
yeah,
overload,
because they're trying to process,
Mhm.
and they can't in reality. So you are actually just adding to the load at that point.
Mhm.
And then the trauma to nervous system is something that, because of the fight or flight being so dominant, shows hypervigilance and the cytokine storms that have to do with neuroinflammation.
So that's the storm, the cytokine storm she's talking about, is the inflammation comes in, and then along with inflammation, think of inflammation as like fire, or on the brain, as Dr. Gordon says, an ice cube, and you're pouring warm water over it, it causes the brain to atrophy, decline, and yes, it's basic. It's real basic. It sounds like a whole bunch of fancy stuff, but inflammation.
Yeah, these kind of storms, these cytokine storms that we're talking about, these are storms outside too. So if you guys ever heard us talking about rage, like, I mean, I've seen David's storms. I call them storms because I associate it with the cytokine storm. And because it looks like on the outside, like everything's flying,
If you watched episode 2 and 3, where I was born in 148 tornadoes, it's called the super outbreak.
So when
should have called it super outburst.
So when I saw those storms, I also saw his red being red, and
his head being red.
Like he's having like real high blood pressure, and just dealing with something really heavy and very intense.
That's where people with CTE die of CTE, but it's a stroke.
Yeah, like you could get like a stroke and die. Like that's exactly what it looks like. He's about to get a heart attack,
Because you don't die of CTE. The chronic traumatic encephalopathy isn't something you die from.
But the decrease of the ability of the brain to act as the mother computer in the body starts to compromise every single system. And of course, because of these things that we just described, the heart and the brain are particularly sensitive, become compromised and vulnerable.
So can I make a point here real quick about, so if you're deteriorating, I'm trying to be nice, Karen. If you're deteriorating, you're having symptoms of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, things are heavy and hard on you, and you got somebody in your life that you see often and they're negative. That negativity causes you to explode if you're in control enough to not explode, and you're respectful, and it's someone you love a lot and you have the ability to not. I commend you and tip my hat for you having that ability. I didn't personally have it. I had my allostatic load was too full, I suppose. But because I didn't,
he means it was too high.
Yeah, excuse me. That's also like anaphylactic brain injury talk.
Dyslexic?
Dyslexic. Anyway, here we go. That negative individual can causes you to cause you to have more inflammation, cause more cytokine storm, which ultimately deteriorates your brain more and your ability to function, and can take your life. I used to say it this way: you're pulling the trigger on me. I used to tell my family, you're pulling the trigger at the top of my lungs. It's not.
It sounds like it's intentional, and it's very
It's
often
not
not
intentional.
intentional.
It's your loved ones who love you dearly. They're just not educated on what and how to deal with certain things.
Yeah, knowledge empowers.
And so that's
us
what we're here to do with Dr.
to help you
PhilGood.
understand what are the little things that would help you to know about yourself or about your loved one who deals with probable CTE, traumatic brain injuries, post-concussion syndrome,
PCS,
RHI. What's RHI?
repetitive head impacts.
Oh, repetitive head impacts.
I think they have RBI,
okay.
which is a base hit, but
or CTE as
repetitive blast
chronic toxic encephalopathy, or actually, really, like I said, a lot of these things really help with even people who are on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Or like,
because it's about the allostatic load there, isn't it?
And it's all about the allostatic load with all of these. So that's why any kind of, mental issues that you can mention, from depression, anxiety, ADD, ADHD, dyspraxia, dyslexia, blah, 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 all of those, we touch a lot of the subjects that relate to those.
Well, brain injuries cause mental health issues, mental illness.
Yes.
And it's part of it. It's like if you broke your bone, that injury, and you broke it, and then you end up having arthritis in that joint, or wherever you broke it is arthritis built up, trauma.
Yeah, and then, of course, inflammation makes everything worse.
And a good explanation is I've had a lot of fractures, and 27 fractures in my body and dislocated joints and stuff. And every time I get a CAT scan or MRI or wherever it is that they can read inflammation, it shows arthritis, inflammation in every one of those places.
Yeah.
So the same is with the brain. And except the brain's contained into this little spot that signals, and everything is affected by it.
And like, such as the hormones, like, for example, the hormones balance out when you can reduce the inflammation. So that's why it is important that inflammation is really at the base of the majority of chronic diseases, if not all of them. I mean, I still really have to run into the disease that is not worsened by oxidative stressor or high inflammation markers, which are kind of synonymous, and you could get really picky and say they're not, but then you're gonna get into an argument with me.
Don't do it.
Don't get into an argument with me, because they usually don't happen without one another. So like, if you have high oxidative stress, then there is inflammation, and then if there is inflammation, then there is oxidative stress, high, and then both of them are kind of helping the other one to get worse.
So when you tune up, when you get your hormones balanced, which is what Dr. Gordon and Dr. DeMeo focus on, when balancing the hormones decreases the inflammation. We have to decrease the inflammation.
Yeah, the reason why I didn't nod with you was because they help with the hormonal imbalance by supplementing the missing hormones.
Okay.
But the base of that 40 pages packet that you got was nothing else but lifestyle choices that reduce inflammation, like how to eat to reduce inflammation, how to exercise to reduce inflammation, how to fast to reduce inflammation.
So how you respond to their program goes back to how you obey the program.
Right.
So what they can do for you requires some diligence on your part.
Absolutely.
And then what that does is decrease inflammation. And once you get the inflammation down to a certain level, the hormones can balance themselves out. And then once that happens, your immune system is stronger.
Right.
And your gut biome becomes, is that a whole nother ball game?
It is kind of, but like you.
But it'll be easier to get your gut biome correct if you're not dealing with all these.
I have a different angle on the gut microbiome
I like to hear it.
because the protocol that I've done was basically focused in on two things: reducing inflammation and building up the gut microbiome. And what I experienced on my own is that when you work on those two, the hormones balance out, the immune system starts to work at a higher function, and then brain functions that I didn't even dream about disappearing, being enhanced, started to get enhanced. Like I'm slightly dyslexic when it comes to numbers, but I noticed myself that when I have brain fog fatigue, that's when it happens. When I don't have brain fog or fatigue, I don't have it.
Okay.
So a lot of the brain functions, that we actually label as a disability are actually, they wouldn't be there if the inflammation wasn't there and if the gut biome was strengthened.
So what we do and what Dr. DeMayo and Dr. Gordon, they focus on this hormonal. What they do is prescribe you supplementation that will help your body produce the correct hormones.
Or keep it in balance.
Yeah. But it is our job to get the inflammation down.
Yes.
And
they cannot do that.
That's why you look at me sideways when I pick up some with sugar in it.
Correct.
That's why.
And that's the same. That's the same with the supplements that we use for oxidative stress.
That's what
as
I was
well.
going to get at.
The whole purpose of you taking that supplement is to reduce the inflammation, and then you choosing to have a breath mint that has sugar in it, or something like that. That just weakens the presence of that supplement.
And she's talking and dealing with an old rock star. So when it comes to like seeing me with a peppermint in my hand, it could be a needle. My balance is like, wait a second. The facts of that is I'm married to a woman who sees it this way. And for fact, because she sees it this way, I have, instead of gone backwards with a degenerative brain disease, I'm moving forward and getting better.
You constantly worry about his safety. Then why aren't you worried about this? Protect his brain. Prevent CTE. Learn more at stopcte.org.
And one of the things and the main focus that we focus on is that the body was designed to heal itself.
Right.
So when we create the right atmosphere for it, the body has a little fire department called glutathione, and it runs around shooting inflammation out, right?
Correct.
Shooting the water hose and cooling everything down.
It keeps inflammation at bay.
And it works naturally. So that's why you see it on the shelf. People wanting to supplement that because it helps reduce.
Yeah, incorrectly, because our body has the capacity to produce more.
And that's what I'm going at.
Yeah,
I'm getting there. So doctors give us cyponate or a testosterone that shoot us older men in the hind end or the leg with it because our testosterone is low. Excuse me, you making fun of me? No, I talk that way too. Listen, so what happens is, and this happening to you, I guarantee you, I'm looking at a 5,000 folks right now that are shooting testosterone. That are listening. Listen to ye that have ears to hear what I'm saying. When you take that testosterone, you are telling your testicles to die. Buried and go
I don't
away.
need you anymore. That's the signal you're sending to your testicles.
And so the testicles that once might have been full and charged and boy, he's got the biggest Halls of them all. That's an old song. So everybody that's my age might know that song. AC/DC.
If they are from the same culture as you.
True. Look it up. I think it's AC/DC.
Okay. All right.
So the point of this conversation is that when you do that, it causes the body to stop producing because your body's smart. God designed you to not overdose on stuff.
And then let me just take this to the next level. When you decide to take glutathione, you're actually this is even worse.
Telling
you
body.
put glutathione into your body, and glutathione being the master antioxidant, it's something that your body uses whether it needs it or not.
What's it do with it?
So you put it in there. I don't know. I just know that it will use it even when it doesn't need it. And that's not what you want to do.
It's kind of like looking at a fire. When you ever drove by a neighborhood that had a fire hydrant blowing water out,
that or just think about the fire department hiring 100,000 extra firemen that they don't need.
Then having a volunteer fire department on top of it.
Right. Yeah. They don't have a place to house them. It just causes stress on the body.
Chaos. And it's not order. It's not it's not balance.
So and then if you guys haven't figured it out.
The factory that makes the glutathione.
Yeah, what about it?
Put it out of business. You're taking it just like I'm saying with the testicles shrinking
that's a little bit different because it's your cells who produce glutathione. So it's not an organ.
There's no factory.
So it's not. Well, it's different. Let me put it that way. Okay, it's different. Just live with that thought.
I'm different.
And don't try to analyze it because neither one of us are glutathione experts. And this show is not about that.
But it's Mike bring a glutathione expert on the show. Okay, sorry, I've already tripped her. Don't get mad at me. Not here on Top Public TV.
I don't want to get mad at you. I just want you to stop talking about something that neither one of us knows.
I know up to what I was saying.
Okay. So what happens though when the hormonal issues, not just the testosterone or estrogen or whatever, get out of whack? Think about neurotransmitters being out of whack, like dopamine, where if you don't have dopamine in your system, if you don't have enough dopamine in your system, you're gonna lack motivation. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna want to live or do anything really. Mm-hmm. And so all of those things are going to create a kind of a personality, that goes with being a trauma survivor or brain injury survivor. Moody and just like not
up or down, huh?
Yeah, like up or down, exactly.
No,
like not predictable is what I'm trying to say. Unpredictable, yeah.
But like both of us sometimes.
And
we're trauma survivors.
And you may think it's your willpower that's failing. I mean, I've been there, I've done it. I've lived for many years when I felt like, oh, I have no willpower. Well, in reality, it has a huge chemical underlying cause to why your willpower failing. It's because when you don't have enough motivation to achieve something, then you don't have willpower to match that motivation. Your willpower shines when your motivation is, huge and bright and obvious and clear and overpowering.
And environment has a lot to do with that. I keep mentioning the word environment today because it's something that is tangible that people can change about their life like this.
Some people can, some people cannot.
Can change the light bulb.
Especially when you're talking about traumatic brain injury survivors. Some of them are happy that somebody's taking care of them.
Well, I understand that too, but
and they have to be grateful for how they are being taken care of. So they also not always able to change what they eat, for example. So,
yes.
So what
I was in that condition.
So what people like that need to focus on is the other factors. There's always hope. So if you are one of those people, then you need to focus on exercise, for example, or you need to focus on, taking a walk in nature where you can when you can hear the sound of nature, and that's going to regulate your nervous system. Or you can meditate, for example, which, nobody has to be involved into.
You can put some of these on and listen to
Yes.
positive things, frequencies,
Yes.
White noise if you have a ringing in your ears.
And the neuroinflammation that we mentioned earlier and the cytokine storms are something that, like cause brain fog and slow thinking and the explosive reactions.
The rage?
Yes. But again, you can reverse those by doing exercises that regulate your nervous system and reducing inflammation that you can facilitate by different lifestyle choices.
Yes. Those are the simple things I'm saying that everybody can change something about their, whether it's if you're homeless, like I was, the people that you're stuck around, it's kind of like jail. You don't really have an option. You can't tell them to move out. You're like, got to walk down the curb and try to find a new place to sit. But that's what you can do. And when we talk about environment and it being something everyone can do, you can just say no to people.
Right.
Say no to what it is.
And you know what that
negative
does
about it.
actually is when you change your environment, when you start doing things differently in a new way, or start doing things that you haven't done before, you give a chance to your brain to create neuroplasticity, which is something I promised we would talk about at the end of this show.
Yes, ma'am. Look up and at me.
And
thank you so much.
And so neuroplasticity has to do with creating new neural pathways. So to explain this real fast, your brain is a very, very efficient machine. And it actually runs electricity, which is information. In case you didn't know, electricity was really present in your body. It runs electricity, which is, signaling and information through your nerve cells in the most efficient way. And the most efficient way, because of the presence of these myelin sheets that coat our nerve cells,
They're individuals.
are actually, yeah, right. You could look at it that way. I kind of like that.
At it.
So the myelin sheets are, when they coat the nerve cells, they actually are capable of running energy through those neural pathways faster. So your brain is always going to choose the same pathway when that's available, because it can run energy faster through that. And what that causes, it causes your brain to, so to speak, bigger, in that area. And if you want to grow your brain, which is why you would not want to grow your brain when we talk about, neuroinflammation and cytokine storms. And even if you're just a normal individual, you're going to eventually age, right? So we do all these brain exercises to do what? To grow our brain so that we don't lose our brain cells or don't cause atrophy in the brain. Which neuroinflammation causes naturally. Then you want to create new neural pathways. And so basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to teach your brain to take a different route when it runs that energy. And there are different ways of doing that, but I like to use faith or spiritual experiences, because that's one thing that's available for every single individual, regardless of what kind of environment you live in, what you think, what you believe. You just have to open up your mind a little bit and understand that there are different ways of doing things. There are different ways of thinking.
How about when someone's been enlightened, like you get wowed by a new way of doing something?
Yeah, the aha moment is that you're talking about is a typical neuroplasticity creating moment.
You see those little videos that people make with, like, you can turn your, your can opener and do it this way, and it's What? You can do that with a can opener?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like learning little things, even if I have a friend and I was so grateful when she told me that I learn something new every day. If I can learn something new, I don't feel the same way, even if it's just something silly things that I may never use, even if it's just silly thing that you may never use, that still may very well cause neuroplasticity in your brain, which is going to protect your brain. It's going to make your brain grow. And it's gonna, what else? It's gonna create a personality that's gonna be more vibrant, more full of life, and more able to be open to the wonders that are available in this world, whether spiritually, whether scientifically, whether emotionally.
A scripture just came to my mind.
Yeah.
The earth will be filled with his glory of the knowledge of God.
Yeah, and I also think
Just
of renewing your mind when
The knowing.
yes, that's why I said earlier that knowledge
glory.
empowers. Knowledge doesn't just empower because it helps us to hurt ourselves. It also empowers because it creates a greater personality. Like our experiences and our understanding, when we make sure that they keep growing, we stay young, we stay vibrant, we stay, interesting and interested in others and in things of this earth.
Oh, there's folks sitting out there right now that can't feel interested in anything. That depressed feeling exists, and both of us have been there. Where you hear us talking, and we don't want you to sit there if you're not feeling this in the sense that we are right now. You're not in the wrong place. This is the right place, and you keep coming back here. Dr. Feelgood will help you to feel good someday.
And this is proven, you guys. This is proven. I have my own experience, and David has his own experience. We both healed a lot from a lot of things.
A whole lot.
But also, it's that it's the ability to bounce back comes from the fact that we went through the stuff that we did and we came out because we allowed this process and things that are bigger than us and bigger than our problems to guide us through and guide us out of those experiences. And this is something that's available for everyone. So I'm going to say this right now, that if you feel like you don't have access to this, really, truly, the only thing you have to do is listen to podcasts like this. Listen to people who are teaching this to you with their actions, through their actions, who not just, have like a fancy outline that they read, but they actually have the lived experience. And you can feel that vibrancy in their voice. You can feel that energy in their life, and you see that they bounce back. It's not that they don't have problems. Everybody has problems. It's how they react to the problems.
Yes, a just man falls 7 times, gets right back up. It's in the getting up, folks. And at some point we're going to go down, and that'll be it. I have an aunt that just died. She went down, and she lived 90-something years, I believe, if she was the same as Uncle Billy. But for the most part, throughout our life, our job is to just get back up. The fall's over with. You're down there now, just get back up.
And you're always going to fall. Yeah. Falling is part of life. It's part of learning.
Look at it as exercise. It's just part of exercising. And if you fall like me, you can get good at it. And make it into a dance.
And if you like this, come back next week.
Absolutely. And I want to leave you with one thought. Come on closer here to this camera and let everybody see us a little bit better. Look at this. If you don't believe in God, don't worry. He believes in you. Say that in Hungarian, would you?
Nem baj, ha nem hiszel Istenben, Isten hisz benned.
Have a good day.
Bye.
You constantly worry about their safety. Then, why aren't you worried about this? We've known the big hits are bad. Now we're learning all those little hits can be worse. Choose Brain Safe Sports. Learn more at stopcte.org.